on our Monday edition of Good Morning Talk with Najma Khota. And then, of course, our wellness practitioner today is Razina Wahed. She is a holistic health practitioner, and we talk to her today about insomnia and how does cupping, in fact, help with insomnia. Assalamu alaikum and welcome, Razina.
Barakatuh.
It's good to have you with us on the program. You are most welcome. We are very glad that you've made the time for us this morning. So this is a very interesting topic, I would think, because people talk about insomnia and maybe think it's just a phase, or is it just restless sleep? Is it, so let's first define insomnia in general, and then we talk about the treatment.
Okay. So when it comes to insomnia, it's where people have difficulty falling asleep or they're not having a full night's sleep. Sometimes they fall asleep easily and then wake up several times at night. Okay. So that leads to, where you feel not rested. And the minute that happens, after a period of time, that can impact your work life, it can impact on your family life, it can impact on your entire life. Because I'm not getting enough sleep, what happens? I start losing focus, I start having a bit of a brain fog, I become irritable. There's many other different things that happen. And with that, also anxiety comes up because you're not focused, you're not there, you're
Right.
not in balance.
Mm-hmm.
So with
Right.
insomnia, a lot of people go through a lot of difficult times. Sometimes it also is emotional trauma, overthinking. Sometimes it even impacts on, sometimes it's health problems also. So insomnia can come from poor diet, stressful situations, or being under stress all the time, lifestyle. There are many different reasons. According to traditional Islamic medicine and traditional Chinese medicines, we have to go to the root of it to see what is the problem and why do we have that.
Right. And I see from just that brief explanation, we find that it does have a huge impact on mental health.
Oh, yes, yes, definitely. It has a huge impact in it because then we tend to have a lot of anxiety because obviously the body is not in balance. So there's no clarity in the mind. You are constantly thinking about a lot of things. You feel tired. You don't have the energy to deal with life, to deal with work, children, family. You just feel tired all the time. So it does impact, and people would say that, but I just get a good night's sleep. Some people really struggle with the sleep. So it's going back to the root cause of the problem. Why are they
Right.
not sleeping and addressing those problems?
Right. So when we talk about cupping as an approach for an alternative treatment to insomnia, most people, I'm guessing, are aware of what cupping is, and we know that it's a sunnah act. However, can you just give us more detail on what the treatment is about?
Okay, so we all know that cupping was encouraged by our Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam because it helps with a lot of ailments, with a lot of illnesses, with a lot of sicknesses, right? So when we do cupping, it is basically what we're doing is there are many different therapies that help the body get into balance. Cupping helps is one of those therapies. So when we place the cups, cupping is where you're placing cups on specific points or different points on the body, and you're using a cup to actually suction the skin up to the surface with muscle and connective tissue, and it brings up all the toxins to the surface layer of the body, of the skin. And this
Mm-hmm.
basically what we do is there's many different types of cupping. You can have dry cupping, wet cupping, massage cupping. Especially with wet cupping, when the toxins are at the surface level, we make small superficial cuts. We then place the cups back onto the skin, suction again, and whatever has come out of it, those are the toxins. So when you're looking at toxins, you must remember there are many different. We live in an environment where we have a lot of different pollution that's around. So there's already we inhaling toxicity all the time. We're eating foods that are not, the ground is not as great as it used to be before. The soil, the minerals in the soil is not as great as it used to be before. So
Right.
whatever we ingest in also, there's toxins. So there's many different toxins in our body, and the minute we are overloaded with toxins, this is where the body starts going into a imbalance. And by removing
Right.
these toxins, we're allowing the body to free flow.
Right. So, how does this then help with insomnia?
Okay, so with insomnia, again, we got to look at different aspects of it. So one of the aspects could be, say, for example, stress. If a
Right.
person leads a very stressful life, you will notice that they have a lot of pain in the neck area, in the shoulder area. This is where we carry a lot of tension. And the
Correct.
minute you carry tension, there is pain. So if when it comes to insomnia, and if a person is having a lot of pain, they find it difficult to fall asleep by
Uh-huh.
using cupping therapy as what it does is we putting it on specific points, neck or the back, depends again on the client themselves or the patient themselves. If it's
Hmm.
just pain because of stress, then we would use the neck and the shoulder parts and part of the back also to put the cups on. By
Right.
putting on the cups and removing this toxicity from the body, it already sends messages to the brain, to the parasympathetic nerve, which
Hmm.
already, once it engages the nervous system, it's already
Right.
telling the body to relax, to calm down, to be in a state of, calmness.
Relaxation.
And then that,
Yes. Yes.
yes, and that allows the body then to go into a calm mode and allows the person to fall asleep easily.
Right. And how would you then diagnose other causes?
Okay, so in my practice, there are a lot of people they come in. Anxiety, depression can also be a reason why people have insomnia. The overthinking, which we are all guilty of every day.
Hmm.
What do I need to do? What do I need to cook? There's always an overthinking, and especially when we're in a stressful situation, the overthinking gets to us. Because think of it: we go to bed, you put your head on the pillow, you've read your kalimas, you've read all your stuff, you now want to sleep, and then you're thinking about the next day and the next day, and what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Or sometimes we have trauma. So all this overthinking can lead to the brain overworking, which means I am not in a state of calm. Again, when you do cupping, it doesn't necessarily have to be just for on the neck and the shoulder points. It can be other aspects that you might be having, like pain. Apart from
Hmm.
pain, it could be just for wellness. And that already, the minute you do cupping therapy, you are already placing cups on meridian points, and meridian
Right.
points are energy railway tracks that
Okay.
already start sending this energy all over and allows the body to relax, starts allowing the body to heal because the body has the innate ability to heal on its own.
Correct. Correct. So you just facilitating that through this. So
Yes.
what points do you use generally? Now you mentioned the shoulders and the neck for that area that would create stress, which leads to insomnia. What other points would you use generally?
Okay, so depending again on the patient themselves, I would assess them and see what are their issues. And then with regard to that, like I mentioned, if it was pain and stress and tension, we would go onto the neck and the shoulder parts. If it is other aspects, sometimes a liver detoxification, according to traditional Chinese medicine, happens between 12 and 3, and that's usually where we have difficulty also falling asleep. So if a cup is placed on the liver area, that can also assist the body to go into a calm, relaxed state and allow the body to fall asleep easily. There are
Right.
other different points. It just depends on the patient themselves. So every patient is unique, and yeah, their therapy is unique to them too.
Hmm. Now, you mentioned the mental health aspect, but there's also the physiological. If there are some physical conditions that a
Yes.
patient suffers from, how would you then treat that?
Again, so you would look. There are sonor points on the back that we usually do the cupping on, and then obviously an add-on. on different other points. So you must know on the back there are points that are related to specific organs: the liver,
Right.
the lungs, the kidney, the spleen. So we would target certain of these organs and see, okay, right, target the organs, remove the toxicity, allow the blood, because you see, when there's not enough circulation happening in your body, this is where we have the problem of where there's the overthinking. There's also the not enough oxygen coming to your brain, and we feel tired all the time, and then you can't fall asleep. So when you're placing these cups on different points, you're already allowing circulation to start happening. And the minute circulation starts happening, that means out with the old, the toxins are out, new blood comes in, new oxygenated blood comes in, and starts
Right.
distributing to different organs.
Right. Now, how do you maintain that post the cupping treatment?
So, post cupping treatment, we would first, for my patient, I would look at the patient. I would see what are the problems, deal with the physical, emotional, and spiritual part of it, and then cupping therapy is a complementary therapy. That means it's going to assist the body, but there are other factors. If the person's eating a lot of sugary stuff and is with a lot of different foods that are not processed foods, that are not good for the body, then you're removing toxins and then you're placing toxins in. So a plan would be drawn up for them, or giving them some sort of an idea how to move forward as far as their lifestyle is concerned. If it's
Mhm.
stress that's the problem, we've got to look at a way how can they cope better with stress.
Mhm.
If it's anxiety, again, we're looking at different aspects of the client, and we would give them certain things to do post treatment so that they would feel better. Cupping is complementary to the other things, and that's when
Right.
you're going to see the holistic part of the person actually feeling in balance.
Right. So, age would also be a reason for insomnia. Can that be treated?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
age could be a reason for insomnia. You must remember with older people, there's a lot of different things that they're going through. That depression settles in slightly. So we've got to look at different things with the person and see how to work with them. Older people, we don't recommend wet cupping because of their weakness for them and they're older. Even with young children, we prefer doing maybe cupping, massage cupping, in assisting the client in that way.
Okay, we'll talk about those procedures after this break.
Perfect.
Impact this Ramadan. Donate your zakah to Ashraful Aid. Your zakah can help feed an orphan, support a widow, build a home for a refugee family, sponsor a HIF student, and much more. With Ashraful Aid, you can make a real difference. Visit our website at www.ashrafulaid.org to make a donation. Make your Ramadan meaningful with Ashraful Aid.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends. They supply just about everything we need to help us get a better education, from books to files to rulers. In fact, any any accessory we need. Freedom Stationery. Education for the nation. What does accessory mean?
This Ramadan, spread the love with Sunshine D margarine, the perfect addition to your seri table for spreading, baking, and cooking. Sunshine D is rich in essential vitamin A, E, and D, and is the tastiest way to get their day or night started. Sunshine D tastes nice, no lies.
At Sentio, our Invest for Good philosophy is based on a genuine desire to use our investment skills for the benefit of broader society by investing responsibly, giving charitably, and developing talent that will transform the investment industry. Visit www.sentio-capital.com for more information about our Sharia investment products and start saving with us today. Sentio Capital. Invest for good. Sentio Capital Management is an authorized financial services provider.
These days, I'm more health conscious than ever. So tonight, it's stir fry for dinner, cooked in healthy Helios pure sunflower cooking oil. Helios is pure sunflower goodness, packed with omega-6. That's good for your heart, and is approved as part of the Heart and Stroke Foundation eating plan. Dinner's ready! Helios, pure sunflower cooking oil. A healthy family is a happy one.
The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, which charity is best? He replied, a drink of water. Africa. Every day, 2 billion people wake up and have no access to water and sanitation. Sponsor a water well for 14,800 rand, a borehole in Afghanistan for 49,500 rand, or a borehole in Africa for 55,000 rand with Africa Muslims Agency. Give water as a means of sadaqah jariyah today. Call AMA on 011 834 8685 or donate online. Africa Muslims Agency, commemorating 35 years of empowering, educating, inspiring.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
We're talking about insomnia and cupping as an alternative treatment for it. Our very special guest is Razina, who is a holistic health practitioner, and she has practiced cupping. Before the break, we asked her about describing the different types of cupping. Go ahead, Razina.
Okay, so you've got the wet cupping. That's the one that most people like to do once a month. This is where we actually place the cups. It's suctioned. We make superficial cuts on the skin. We then place the cups back onto the skin, suction again, and whatever toxins come out, that is removed from the body, right? So not everyone can do wet cupping. People that have that are anemic shouldn't be doing wet cupping. People that are on blood thinners shouldn't be doing cupping, as well as people that are pregnant, kids, as well as older people, right? So they shouldn't be doing cupping, wet cupping. However, you have something called dry cupping. So dry cupping is where you are placing the cups on the skin. You're suctioning again where the muscles and the tissues come into the cup, and it brings up the toxicity to the top. Now, the minute the toxins are coming to the surface layer, already the body sends responses to say, send in fresh blood. The immune system kicks in because they think something's happening on that part. Allah has created us beautifully and perfectly, alhamdulillah. So the blood comes in, it starts moving these toxins out of the body, and it starts allowing for fresh blood to come into that area and start repairing on a cellular level. Okay.
Right.
So with dry cupping, you're not releasing it by taking it out with blood. The toxins will now come to the surface layer and will start moving through the lymphatic system, which is also a way to detox the body, right? And then you have the third point, which is the massage cupping. So massage cupping is really lovely, especially when it comes to a lot of tension in the back, a lot of different pains, places that have pain. So when we do massage cupping, we are actually pushing the flow, or targeting, going on the entire back. But like I said, there are meridians that run through our entire body. So the minute you start dry cupping, massage cupping, you are moving the cup all over in a circular motion, and you're pushing the meridian, you're opening up the flow of energy so that the energy can circulate through all the different organs. And this also allows for better circulation of the blood in the body as well.
How many sessions would one need?
Depends again on the patient. So if it's a severe case, you would come often, could be 2 times a week, could be more than a few times in a month. If it's not so severe and you're doing it just for health reason, to maintain a good healthy body and to be in balance, once a month, it is preferable to come on the 17th, 19th, and 21st of the Islamic calendar, to come on those days, because it helps the body better, to heal. And
Why? Why is it significant?
Because according to it's going, remember, Islamically is according to the lunar calendar, and the moon at certain phases has a better way of actually bringing up those toxins. So you will find better relief. yes, better relief in the ailments that we are presented with when you're doing the cupping.
That's an extremely important point to note, because I don't think many people realize, it's sunnah, and we know why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we don't know why, we just know he did it on those particular dates and particular points that he emphasized on, that he in fact went for the treatment himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's the one aspect of it which we hold very closely to our hearts. But also it indicates that to be conscientious of one's health. And it doesn't have to come to a point where, there are these signs and signals. You're not sleeping properly, you're not concentrating properly, there's body aches, there's this, that the body is now speaking out. We usually wait until that point. But to be conscientious of one's health is extremely important, and hence perhaps that's why I'm so passionate about having this particular segment on my show on a Monday, because when we look at wellness and holistically, in the way you've described, mind, body, soul level as well, then this is the whole idea. We need to live life to its fullest, and we get that example from our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he really did do this as well. He was human, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we know that whatever he did was an example for us. Whatever he experienced, it was an example for us. So I think for me, having brought out this particular ailment, if you like, brings out a lot of the other reasons for why we feel that way. It's kind of the biggest indicator for something needs to change in
Yes.
how we're living.
Absolutely.
Your comment on that?
Mm-hmm. Gee, so being in this holistic environment, you come across a lot of patients with a lot of different ailments, a lot of different sicknesses. Sometimes the sicknesses is not related to the physical aspect.
Absolutely.
Most times, no, it doesn't. It's like they come in with something, and they've been to doctors, they've taken the medication, and they've just come as a last resort saying, I don't know what to do. When you sit here, and alhamdulillah, Allah has given us so many different ways to actually help the person to live on a level where you're connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you're also doing what is good for you. Like you said, being on a conscious level. So when you deal with the client, you're not just looking at the physical aspect. You're looking at all the different aspects because they all play a role. If you look at traditional Islamic medicine, it mentions liver houses a certain emotion, such as anger, resentment. Kidney houses the emotion of fear. The heart holds the emotion of joy or extreme sadness. Lungs hold the emotion of grief. So a person comes in here and says, I've been coughing. Will the cupping help? Yes, it will help. But let's look further. The cupping is the complementary part. Let's look further. Where are you going with this? And how can we help you to move to the next level where your body is in complete balance and in harmony?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that's when the level of consciousness is brought up, when we approach healing through a holistic methodology. And as Muslims, I think we have an even bigger obligation, although, I mean, it's universal, of course, but because we use it, we're fasting for that reason.
Yes,
I don't have to emphasize it even more. We're fasting for that reason. And this is why the reminder is there every year for one whole month on how we need to look inwardly and what it is that we need to change, physically, emotionally, spiritually, which we will discuss in our psychology for Ramadan in our program tomorrow. The psychology of Ramadan, I beg your pardon, in my special edition of Ramadan programs tomorrow. So I'm hoping people listen in on that one as well. Razina, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. What advice can you give before we say goodbye?
So I would say be consciously aware of yourself. If you are not feeling well, ask yourself, why do I feel like this? Is it related to the physical, emotional? Am I feeling or the spiritual part. Why am I not in balance? And what will it take for me to get to that point? Like I said, cupping is a beautiful therapy which Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has encouraged us to do. So it's complementary and it works better when we work with other aspects, when we look at our lifestyle, when we look at our stress factors, our anxiety, our depression, the foods that we eat, everything. By looking at everything, you can actually move forward. Using cupping complements all of that and helps the body to heal, but you've got to do the other stuff as well.
Indeed. Jazakallah khair, Razina. Enjoy the rest of your Ramadan. Remember us in your duas. Jazakallah khair.
Inshallah, you too. Jazakallah for having me on the show. I appreciate it. Assalamu
Our
alaikum.
pleasure. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Just some very interesting points on cupping before we go to our next guest, who is standing by for us, inshallah, and she speaks to us about Ramadan in Morocco. The 14 points of the upper back and lower back are being covered in the second session, apparently. Fixed and wet cupping should be applied. One sunnah point on the top of the neck and in the middle of both shoulders is called al-kahil. Miraculously, this one sunnah point covers 72 diseases in a body. This point improves immunity as per hadith, and other upper and lower back points are muscle stress points that relieve tension and fatigue. Amazing. Hijama cupping therapy is considered one of the best options for the treatment of sleeping disorders. So that's it for our wellness segment. We look forward to next week's one. In the meantime, let's stand by for visiting Morocco.